Hello everyone, I'm Sandra Siepak. Welcome to our show today on Our Ventura TV. Our very special guest is Shana Epstein. She is the General Manager of Ventura Water. Thank you so much for joining us, Shana. I'm very happy to have you as a guest today on our show. And I know you are one busy woman these days with the Water District. So I'd like to hear a little bit about what you're doing, some of the plans for the future, and you can kind of fill us all in on this very important topic, water. So let's get right to it.
So the city of Ventura is fortunate enough to have their own water resources.
Good.
We work with Lake Casitas, and we're a founding member of the Lake Casitas, have our Ventura River water and groundwater.
Okay.
But that also makes us, with that independence, a little bit more susceptible when there's drought. And so we are asking people to conserve and water 2 days a week, and not between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Okay.
And to really take responsibly using the right amount of water. And we're trying to help our customers also with that. We have a new incentive program that people can go on www.venturawater.net, look for the owl, and they can, and you can learn all about an incentive program, how to replace your turf, as well as find water efficient devices. So for like irrigation, and those, and that can, it's really an exciting time for us to help our customers have tools, because our largest amount of water use is outdoors.
Okay.
So to save 20%, you don't need to do a lot of scrimping in the house. It's just really cutting back on that outdoor water use.
But every little bit helps. So if if people can really gather the information, go to your website, and certainly learn about the ways they can cut water usage, I think that will ultimately be a big help.
Yes, and you know, we like to make it fun. You know, we like to make talking about conservation fun, where we want people to think of what your shower song is. So you know, and so it really and that's not the biggest water saving. It is definitely a good amount of water savings in the shower. But it gets the conversation going, people learning from each other, as well as what's on our website, VenturaWater.net.
Okay. You mentioned the rebate program. Can you talk a little bit about that and what folks can get from the rebate program?
Sure. From the rebate program, depending on the size of your lot, you can get up to $800 or $2 per square foot rebate for taking out your turf and putting in something permeable and natural. And you can get up to $300, 50-50 match, you know, for irrigation efficient devices. So different kind of sprinkler heads, smart controllers. So if it rains, your sprinklers get shut off, or your drip irrigation gets shut off. And so all of that really working together. And that's what the program is. And it's it really helps people kind of make that decision to move forward. And we've been working for a long time with Surfrider and with their ocean-friendly gardens. So that's we have classes that go on Saturdays, and I encourage you to people to look those up, because the classes are all about outdoor water use, anything from rain harvesting, which we may be fortunate to have soon, or gray water systems, and that's using water from your washing machine and changing kind of the soap you use, so that you can then irrigate your landscaping with that. And then
so are all these things talked about in the class? This is what people can learn? Classes
have different subject matters, and so we change them up, and they're highly attended. We have like 75 to 100 people. So we have our e-pipeline newsletter, where we advertise our classes, as well as our Facebook page. And we encourage you to sign up, because they sometimes end up being standing room only.
Good. Okay. Well, some of the goals of the Ventura Water are substantial. I mean, you do a lot of planning for the future. And I just wondered what some of your goals are for the short term right now, as to what you'd like to accomplish being the general manager. I know, of course, you mentioned educating people. How about some of the other things that maybe down the pipeline here?
Well, I think we've really started off, Ventura Water started as a department in 2011. So it was formed out of the Public Works Department. And one of the major reasons it was formed was because we had different lawsuits going on, we had different issues, reinvestment issues, and so it became really important for a department of the city to have direct connection with the community and develop those partnerships. And so we've been doing that since 2011. And one of the ways we've done that is we've had always citizen advisory committees to help us with rate increases, and those rate increases are all about capital improvement investment. And we're spending $49 million just this year, and it's over a 4-year project, much more, to really look at how we reinvest, and that includes replacing pipelines, updating technology, besides just trying to look for new water resources. And when we talk about new water resources, it's all water resources, because all the water that we use is from the time of the dinosaurs. It hasn't changed, it's gone through that cycle over and over again. So we now are going to use technology to make the cycle go faster. Or, as I said, with the gray water system on your lawn, how can you reuse water at your own home before you put it back into the system, either being the natural system or the actual physical infrastructure system.
So let's talk about all the different water, because water is such an important resource. It's a hot topic these days with everybody, whether it be somebody, within a household or the farming communities. Water is vital. Everybody needs it, everybody wants it, everybody's got to conserve it now. So let's talk about, drinking water, wastewater, reclaimed water, stormwater, everything across the board. What to you is the most important to address first?
I think we have all of our wastewater is treated to reclaimed water standards, and so, but we don't have an extensive reclaimed water infrastructure. So there's not a lot of ways to get that water out. And at the same time, we are in a permit process and have different partners and different stakeholders who have different opinions about how much of that water is still needed for the Santa Clara River estuary. So right now we're discharging there for habitat. Some people feel we should not be discharging for habitat. Some people say we still should be. And so it's finding out what that right amount is, and then how are we going to use that water. And what's looking really favorable, and we need to really work on educating with people what to do and how to work it, is potable reuse. Because since we don't have that reclaimed water infrastructure, why are we going to spend the money to build a whole third infrastructure of pipelines that have to be replaced every 100 years?
Which is going to cost a lot of money.
When the technology you have to use for that water to be used at a large rate is the same technology to make it potable. So that's really where we're coming from, is how are we going to make that water into potable uses and get acceptance for that. And I think Ventura is the type of community that is practical, that understands that, and really can be on the forefront of that. Texas is already doing it. New Mexico is putting plants in, and San Diego hopes to be having potable reuse by 2023.
So quite a few communities will be watching what you do. So down the road, should they have to make some changes, they can look to you as an example.
Yes, and so, but I think we can't just stop there. We have to look at all of the different avenues, and really, it's just like your personal financial portfolio, right? You have to diversify. You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
That's right.
So it's constantly looking at, are we capturing enough stormwater? And that's something that's happening with climate change. With climate change going on, you're going to have drought, longer periods of drought, but then you're also going to have major rainstorms, and then and most of that water will just go straight to the ocean. So how do we capture that, or how do we create our own gardens to hold on to that water when it does happen? And, and that's part of the ocean-friendly gardens, is that you build riverbeds into your garden, dry riverbeds, so when it rains, or you take the water from your downspout off of your roof.
Rain barrels.
And the rain barrels, you fill up that fill up that dry riverbed basin, and it retains the water so that your garden can grow.
And that's a big thing. People need to learn that and conserve so that they have it when they need it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I know you have a very strong background, and you are certainly an expert now, being general manager of this particular water district. Tell us a little bit about how you came into this position, and a little bit about what you feel is important in your role today.
Well, I think what I like to say to young people is that water and wastewater cannot be outsourced across seas, overseas. You have
right.
Those
it's got to come here.
These jobs are here,
right?
And we're fortunate enough to have Ventura College that educates a lot of young people.
Yes,
and then gives them the water science background to help work with us. And my background is actually a little bit non-traditional for many general managers, but I think it's really the future for general managers because it requires all of that communication and being out with people. I got a master's in public administration from George Washington University. And when I got out of grad school, Gore was reinventing government, which meant there wasn't a lot of federal jobs. That's what I thought I was going to work in. So through some other steps, I finally got a job. I had some jobs, but I finally got a job that I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity. And it was a management training program with Anaheim Public Utilities.
Oh, good.
And so that, for 18 months, I circulated through electric, through water, through telecom, learning all the different aspects of utility management. And then from there, I went to the city of Beverly Hills and was able to start their environmental utilities division of the Public Works Department, which is water, wastewater, stormwater, and solid waste. And it's basically all of those utilities that in order to provide, you need to protect. And that's the whole quandary people have of being in the utility business. Wait, I'm supposed to be selling that water, not telling people not to use my product. But really, part of having people conserve and use the right amount of water allows us not to have to spend even bigger bucks for that next water drop. Because any new water is going to be 2 to 3 times more expensive than our current water supplies. So it's really kind of staves off larger investments that are going to be more expensive than just the regular rate increases.
Which of course brings us to future generations that will need this water, this valuable resource. So give us just a brief insight as to how you're going to protect the water sources for future generations, and are you educating kids today more about conserving?
We educate about 6,000 students a year. We have a program, and that's vital because those students go home and teach their families. How many of us have been told by our own children to, hey, Mom, stop doing that.
Shut that water off.
So they're our greatest educators. We have a program we started in 2012 called it's an online short film contest called WaterTake1. And you can go to WaterTake1.com. And it has gone beyond my vision of when we started it. It is actually an international film contest, and it's intergenerational. All of our events in Ventura really get people in the community who tend to be a little bit older, and everyone online tends to be a little bit younger. But it's the same program, and they're seeing the same films, and it's fabulous because it talks about the value of water without the jargon of the industry, and talks in everyone's own words. And so I encourage people to participate, and that's another way we've educated people in the community.
That's good. So let's just reiterate again. Give us the website again, and any phone contacts or any social media contacts that you have for the Water District.
So you can visit us at VenturaWater.net. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and and our phone number is 805-667-6500.
Right, so if folks have any questions or they need more information, especially about these great classes that are in place.
Or a free water survey so you can learn how you conserve at your home.
And the rebate programs, let's not forget that, because that's always very, very important to a lot of folks out there.
It is. There's so many ways that we can help, and we want to help.
Well, I got to tell you, that's a lot of great information you gave us today, and I thank you so much, Shana Epstein.
Thank you.
From the Ventura Water. We are so happy that you joined us today and filled us in on all the great things that you're doing. I certainly hope you're going to keep up all that and do it more for the future as well.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us today, Shana. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us on the program today. I'm Sandra Siepak. Thank you very much.